Hello and welcome to a new video, and welcome back to the Piccadilly Line. Well, welcome to South Harrow sidings, to be precise. This video, when I can think what I'm going to say, we're doing what's called a rusty rail move. So if you want to know what that is and why we do it, stick around. I'm just making my way through the train, ready to come out the sidings. So saying that, let's get into the video, and I'll see you back at Rayners Lane where I've just come from. I'll explain more there. Hello, well, welcome to Rayners Lane sidings. We're going to be doing what is known on the job as a rusty rail move. And what that is basically we're at a service and we're going to do some moves, as it's called, that wouldn't normally get used on a daily basis, although actually the ones we're doing today do get used a little more. So basically we're going to run empty from here, Rayners Lane sidings, down to South Harrow, into South Harrow sidings, back onto South Harrow platform, empty down to Acton Town, empty into the sidings, and then back empty onto the westbound. And then the next driver will do whatever they're doing. The reason we do that is just to make sure the points and signals and things are working normally. There's lots of different rusty rail moves, and this is one of them. So we're just waiting for our signalator here. And whilst we go, I'll also answer some of your questions that I keep getting asked. The most common questions on these videos we'll answer as we go along. So we're due out now, so hopefully we'll get the signal in a minute. So what we're waiting for on the left hand side, we're waiting for that white disc with a red line across it to turn, and then just behind it we should get a route number 1. Although we can get a route 2 and go through the westbound platform, which is the platform on the right hand side as you're looking at it. If I did get that, I would call them to see if they wanted me to take it, because they would normally tell us. Oh, actually it looks like there's another eastbound train coming. So whilst we're waiting, there is a question I get asked a lot. In fact, some people are quite aggressive with this question. Do I have permission to film? And the answer is yes. I spoke with one of my train managers, and he said it was okay. I would be pretty stupid to film this and then put it up without permission. Yeah, some people seem to take offence to it. I've had quite a few people being quite rude and aggressive about it. But yeah, I do have permission. It's also not distracting. The camera's in the window and I'm just talking to myself, really. You guys and girls can hear me. It's actually more distracting having to make passenger announcements whilst the train's moving, or speaking to control on the radio when we're moving, than it is just for me to talk to you guys and explain a few things. It's one of the reasons why I don't go into too much technical detail with a lot of things. One, because I probably don't know them, and two, I'm not concentrating on driving then if I'm thinking too hard about the technical details of something. So for those of you that have asked if I can, film like the monitors and mirrors at stations, for that reason I can't, because trying to put the camera somewhere where it can see the monitors is impossible, because they're all in different places and I can't be moving the camera at stations. My focus has to be on driving the train. Hope that makes sense to you. So there's a Met train there on its way up to Uxbridge. And they waved. As someone, well, a couple of people have asked if we wave to each other. Some will, some won't. If you look down the middle of the track, you will see the point on the right hand side. It will throw over to take us across. Hopefully that will come out on camera. I'm using the GoPro, so I can't zoom in on this, but hopefully we'll get the signal any minute. No, they're running another train through. See what's going on. Yeah, 237 Rayners Lane sidings. State your message over. Yeah, that's all received via the westbound platform, over. Well, there you go. So, he just called to say he's going to run me through the westbound. I've got to be honest, I've never gone out the sidings and through the westbound. I've only ever done it off the platform and reversed. So he must have known I was filming. Of course, I need to take extra care because people won't be expecting the train to be coming in their opposite direction, because effectively now I'm going east on the westbound. And we've got the signal ahead. You'll see the green signal and then three white lights over to the right hand side. Well, that was a nice treat for you all. Just waiting to make sure that the back of the train is clear of the points before we go a little bit faster. And that's about there. So, right, down to South Harrow and then into the sidings. And then we should have 10 or 15 minutes in the sidings, back out onto the platform, then down to Acton Town. So a few people have asked what my working week looks like. Of course, it's different every week. So this week I'm filming on a Monday, and today is day 7 of 7, so that's 7 days on. I've got 1 day off, back in for 3 days, then I've got the weekend off. In terms of today, I actually started work at 17:48 to be precise. I picked this train up at 17:58 at Cockfosters, ran it in passenger service to Rayners Lane, and then, as I've explained, this part will be empty. Then I'll have my break at Acton Town, and then pick up my next train at 21:48 and 15 seconds, and then up to Rayners Lane in service, then in service to Oakwood, and then stable in Cockfosters Depot via Oakwood. So it's a 6 hour 1 minute duty today, so it just gives you an idea of what I'm up to. So when we come down the platform, I'm looking for a red signal. If I've got a green signal, I'm going to contact the signaller, because a green would send me down the line towards Acton Town, and I'm expecting to go into the sidings. Of course, it does happen that they don't want me to go into the sidings and just forget to tell me, but I would always ring up and check. So just ahead on the left, you'll see the red signal. Just in front of that, as we get closer, you'll see a box, and that will give me the shunt signal, which again is that white circle with a red line through and a number. Here it is a digital shunt, and I better remember not to open the doors. So there we go. So people have commented when they've seen me do something similar that I'm running a red light. Because we're going into the sidings, the red light's irrelevant to us. The shunt signal is what gives us the authority to proceed. The red-green signal would only be if I was going straight down towards Acton Town, but as we're going in the sidings, the shunt signal is what lowers the train stop and allows us to come into the sidings, if that makes sense. So they've added a train stop just on the right hand side, just opposite the 10 here. If we're going above 10, we would get tripped and it'd bring the brakes on. I'm doing about 8. There we go, it's cleared. Now, a few people have also asked what the clicking is on the videos. So the handle, which is what we use to drive the train, whenever you move it, you get a click. So at some stations, if I'm going through the various different brakes to try and bring it to a slow, smooth stop, you'll hear lots of clicking. Right, here we have two stopping marks. One for the 73 stop, which is what we're driving, and one for the new 24 stop, which is slightly longer. So as you can see, you see the 73 there and then the 24. 24 is not a huge amount longer, but it is longer. So there's that. Right, I'm now going to change ends and we'll see you at the other end. So welcome to the other end of the train, South Harrow sidings. So basically we're facing westbound towards South Harrow Station, Uxbridge. You'll see a Piccadilly Line train there going down towards Acton Town. So what we're waiting for is our train number to appear. There's some boards around and the train number will appear, and then on the boarding platform to the right hand side there's a plunger. So I will plunge and it will tell the signalling system which road I'm on. So once the train number, which is 237, comes up on the board and I plunge, it should have a K next to it, because my signal is Whiskey Victor 9 Kilo. Hope that makes sense. So I don't know if you can see on there, we've got the number, so I'm going to go plunge. So there's at least 3 boards, one on the right, well 2 on the left. So I've plunged and we're just waiting now. So there's 2 signals that I need to change, and it will usually do it either simultaneously or backwards to front. So the one that will put me out onto the main line, as I like to call it, will clear first, and then this one in front, or they'll do them at the same time, because these are all new. I can't remember which way round it goes. So we're due out in about 1 minute by my watch. Just under the signal, you'll see it easier on my signal there, Whiskey Victor 9 Kilo. You'll see 3 red dots, they're not lit up, and it says rail gap indicator. If those 3 lights were on, it would indicate that the next section, the power's off. Basically that's what it means. Although it could also be a faulty rail gap indicator, but if they're on, power's probably off in the next section. There's a whole thing in the rule book of what to do, but I'm not going to go into that. This is where they usually leave me sat in here for about 3 weeks. So the train just left. You can just see it probably departing on the left hand side there, so hopefully we'll get the signal into the platform, because we're about 5 minutes late at the moment. It's not the end of the world, because we got about 15 minutes in the sidings at Acton Town. Now it is gone 7 o'clock, and normally we wouldn't blow the whistle, but because I'm coming out the sidings, just in case there's anyone around by the train. So we've got a number 2. So that means we're going into the eastbound platform, even though we're going to be travelling in a westbound direction. So a bit like Rayners Lane, just need to be mindful that people might be looking over the edge of the platform looking for a train in the opposite direction. It does happen. Just like to take this opportunity to thank those of you that have subscribed, commented and liked my previous videos. Of course, if you haven't, then please do so. It is most appreciated. It's nice to be chatting to a lot of you. So I'm doing 10 miles an hour at the moment. The train is just coasting along. So we've got a diamond on the floor there. That's my stopping mark. Obviously remember not to open my doors. And change ends. I'll see you back the other end. Right, we're back on the East End. We're back on the East End now. I've just put the air conditioning on, it's a bit warm in here. So now that red signals for us. Because we're running down the main line, the red signals what obviously tell us not to move, and we're waiting for the green. And we're off. So we are running empty now down to Acton Town. So it is at the minute just gone 10 past 8 at night, so we won't be using the whistle unless we have an emergency. So another question I get asked, probably more than I should get asked it, do we steer the train? And the answer is no. In a nutshell, the wheels have got, let's call it lips on them, and it just, what's the word I'm looking for? It just grips the inside of the two running rails. So we just follow the rails. So when you're running empty, or if a station's closed, according to the rule book, we must do 5 miles an hour through the station starter. The station starter being the signal at the end of the platform. Now there is some exceptions to that. So for us on the Piccadilly Line, that excludes Turnham Green, Stamford Brook and Ravenscourt Park. But also we have what's called a Piccadilly Line supplement, which states that if we're out of service we can run past certain stations at 25 or maximum of 25 miles an hour. So basically it's from South Harrow down to North Ealing. We can pass at 25 miles an hour through the station, subject to signals obviously. If signal's red, we still need to stop. Just before anyone starts commenting that I'm speeding. So I'm doing about 24 miles an hour. It is downhill slightly. Again, always on the lookout just in case anyone wants to try and get on, because they will do. So I've gone from what's called off and release, so coasting, up into parallel, which is full speed, and you probably heard it clicking away as I go through them. So one of the other questions I got asked a lot is how I became a tube driver. There was advertising for night tube drivers, and there was advertising externally, and I'd had a bad day in my old job and I decided to apply. I didn't really want the job, I was just in a bad mood that day. And well, I was lucky enough, or not lucky enough, depends how you look at it, to get the job. Generally they do advertise internally, but rumour has it that they'll be advertising soon externally. I don't know how true that is. All I say is if you're watching this video and interested, just keep your eye on the website, on the job page, just in case it does come out. So we're going downhill here. So last station was Sudbury Hill, sorry, this is Sudbury Town. I have been asked if I can put a map in the corner of the tube as we're driving along. The answer is no, for two reasons. One, I just don't have the time at the minute to do that, and two, I certainly don't have the capabilities with the computer to do that at the moment. But hopefully As I get more time and better using a computer, then it might be something for the future. So once again, just doing just under 25 mile an hour. We've got a green, no one's near the edge, so we're good. And we can wind up. So maximum 45 mile an hour for the rest of the line. There is some speed restrictions further down the line, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Next station is Alperton. So I'm doing about 38 miles an hour. Just letting it roll down the hill. If I go too fast, I just end up catching the train up in front. And we'll be slowing down soon anyway for Alperton station, which is round the next bend. Another question I get asked quite a lot is about the braking. How do I know when to brake? I'll be honest, it's just about experience. I do it without even thinking. It's a bit like driving a car. You know, you change gear and you brake without really thinking once you've been driving for a while, and this is exactly the same. Also, people have said, when do you know when to close the doors, or how long do you leave them open for? So, I can only speak for myself. My rule of thumb is, once I've got a green signal, and once the DVA, which is the digital voice announcer, which will say, you know, this is blah blah station, change here for whatever it says. If nobody then is getting on or off, I'll look at closing the doors. Obviously, when a station is really busy, I'm more worried about people getting off the train than on, because at some point you've got to try and close your doors. But if you leave people on the train that want to get off, what will happen is you run the risk of them pulling the emergency alarm when you're halfway out the station. So once they're all off and people are getting on, at some point you've got to do your best to close the doors if it's really busy, and we'll make announcements and attempt to close them. That's sort of the rule of thumb. As long as it's safe, close your doors. But make sure you've got a green signal first. So yeah, there's nothing really, or if there is anything official, I've not seen it, that says, you know, you must sit there for 20 seconds or whatever it is. Some stations like King's Cross that announces lots of tube lines, the digital voice announcer goes on a little longer than, say, Arsenal, that just says this is Arsenal. So I hope that makes sense to you all. We're just coming down into Park Royal. Now, after Park Royal is North Ealing. More often than not, North Ealing, the station starter, so again that's the signal at the end of the platform, is red. And the one before it actually is usually red. So I'm just doing 30, I'm just bringing it down to 25. So that's about 23 mile an hour. Just letting it roll through the station. We've got a green here. That's it, went through about 21 mile an hour, so I've just wound up a bit, as we call it. So that's 35 miles an hour, just off and release. We have 4 main brakes that we use on here, service 1, 2, 3 and 4. We also have emergency. That's just in service 1. I know where the signal is, it's quite a way away, so I've just bit of brake, I've come off the brakes, just let it roll down. And back into service 1, just to slow it down. Oh, and the signal's cleared, and it looks like the station start's clear as well, which is good. Because usually this signal's red and you have to slow right down for it. So slow down, just doing about 21 mile an hour now, just double checking that the station starter has cleared. Yep, just in case the signal behind was faulty. And then we've got a 25 mile an hour speed limit here. It's gone 7 o'clock, so we're not going to blow the whistle unless there's anyone on the track. So that's 25, just letting it roll round. So the track on the right hand side there comes from Ealing Broadway. The repeater's on, so the next signal is red. So we're just going to slow down. Oh, it's cleared. So I'm down to 20. I'm just letting it roll round at 20 mile an hour. In fact, I'm going to give it a little bit of speed. It's dropping down a bit. Just until I see whether the next lot of signals are clear or not. So that's doing about 21, and we're clearing the platform. This platform I'll be going through at 5 mile an hour, or stopping if the station starter's red. There's a district line train to Ealing Broadway. So at the minute station starter's red, that's what that yellow's telling me, that's a repeater signal. So I'm doing 30 mile an hour and just in service 1, slight downhill. I'm braking a little bit earlier than I would normally for that reason, that the signal's just cleared. So I'm doing about 16, so I'm going to bring it back down. So there we go, through at 5 mile an hour. So there's a district line depot, that's the Ealing Common depot. On one of the videos, for some reason, I called it Acton Town depot, but it's the Ealing Common depot for the district line. So we're coming down into Acton Town, and then we'll be going into, let's see, 21 siding, I believe. Well, that's what the book says anyway. You often get held on this little section because we're coming down into Acton Town. You've got the line from Heathrow joining as well. In fact, that's quite nice. They're putting us in the local. So you see on the right hand side just down there, you've got the sidings and you've got the east and westbound down towards Northfields Heathrow, or from them. We've got 2 lots of green, one for them, one for us. If we was going into the fast, the signal that's up on the gantry ahead of us would have the 3 lights to the right hand side. So I'm doing 15 miles an hour. There is also a track to the very far left hand side, you'll see in a moment, and that is if you run down the eastbound local from Northfields to here, you come through that line. So this is Acton Town, eastbound local, so this is what the district line uses. Obviously we can use it as well, but we've got to be careful we don't take the wrong signal here. We used to be able to run straight up the local all the way to Hammersmith, so we could accept what we'd call a straight green, so that's just a green signal. We can't do that anymore. So if we was in service, we'd need a green with the lights off to the right hand side. But as we're going into the sidings, we need the shunt, which is Whiskey Lima 08, just by the ladders ahead if you can see that. See whether they let us go or whether the train next to us is going to go first. So the train next to us that's in service, that's going to go first. They've got the green. Because once we cut across, we're cutting off this one, across the main, the eastbound, and then into the sidings. We've got to be all the way into the sidings before they can bring another train into the platform. So it's just a little bit slower going for them. You can see there's a 40-mile-an-hour limit there by the signal, and that's for the district line, and then there's a 15 just ahead for us for going across the points. That alarm was what was called an OPO alarm. So what's known the TBC, or what's known as the dead man handle. There we go, we've got number 3. If you don't depress it for about a minute, that alarm goes off, and if you don't press it for another minute approximately, it sends basically a distress call to our control. So if something happens to you, they can try and contact you or get help. There's a gist of that. So I'm just doing 10 mile an hour because I'm going across all these points. Another question I get asked a lot is about what we do if we need the toilet. So all our terminating points on the Piccadilly line have got toilets, with the exception of Rayners Lane, but there are toilets at South Harrow. There's also a handful of toilets dotted around on platforms on the network. But ultimately, if let's just say you had a dodgy curry the night before, ultimately you could stop at any station and use the station facilities. Try to avoid that. You know, somewhere like Holborn, it's a long walk from the platform to use the staff toilets upstairs. So yeah, not to worry, we do have generally plenty of places to go. So we've got 3 sidings here. And the track just on the right hand side, that's the westbound fast. And we're stopping on this first diamond. There's a diamond that says S7 further up. That's if the district line come in here. Not that I've ever seen one in here personally, but I'm sure they have. Right, let's change ends. So here we are on the West End. Yeah, West End. I'll soon lose track of which way I'm going. In Acton sidings, 21 sidings. Our signal is just on the left there, the white disc, Whiskey Lima 5-1. That red signal, Whiskey Lima 2-5 just ahead, that's for the westbound fast trains. So that's the track to our left, that's their signal. You just see there's a Cockfoster's train there on the right hand side, heading up the eastbound fast. So there's currently a train on the westbound fast at Acton Town. Now we can go on the local, but I've always been put on the fast, so I'm assuming hopefully once that departs we'll get the signal, so it'll be a shunt signal into the platform. So that train ahead has gone, you won't be able to see it, so I'm hoping, let's have a look at the time, yeah, about 1 minute. We're due on the platform in 2 minutes. In fact, actually, it looks like that train hadn't gone. It's just, I'm guessing it's coming into the sidings. So there's a train just coming into the sidings by the looks of it, off the westbound fast. Once that's in the sidings, I'm hoping we'll get the signal into the platform, which is where I'll be getting off. As always, I do appreciate you watching this video. Put my teeth in. Try that again. I do appreciate you watching these videos. I hope you enjoy them. I know they're putting a passenger train, obviously we're all passenger trains, but one that's in service in first. Well, they're spoiling me today. I can honestly say I have... I'm just trying to think now. I might have done this move once, because normally you go into the fast. So that's 2 treats for you, you folks today. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'm going to try and put a video out almost every week, as long as I can film enough. But for the moment I think I've got some at least for the next few weeks. So I'll leave you here. You can enjoy the last 50 yards or whatever it is into the platform. Until next time, take care.